For my next talk here with 2009 then I got Star Trek turn that on to warm up the room.
No way. Minutes. Take it off.
Just remember
Good morning, everyone. Class. I'd do it if everybody would get it, but it's nice to see that you've all lost your shyness and come out of your shells. Where is Mr. Rick?
Right outside the hall.
It's time to be right inside the hall. There he is.
sit down.
While Rick is coming to the stage, or the depression as the case may be, let's give a warm round of applause to both James and Scott for all of the entertainment. And wait, and let us not forget the Pips who were here last night. And of course, Mr. Bob Salone. And you know, Rick's really not accustomed to walking on the model's platform, but yet here he is, getting rid of all his inhibitions. And I mean, it's just like, wait, I gotta hold up your shoe, because it's the shoes that make the outfit. Yeah. All right. So the T-shirts, we've got several T-shirts left. We had $15 on them. You know, we're going to do a $10 thing to try to get rid of the last of them. If you really want a T-shirt, let us know. We'll do whatever you need to do. Hats the same way. They were $15, but $10 they'll go out the door. Or if you really want one, just let us know. Thanks. And now let me offer a translation of that. You can really have one of those, but be generous. No, be generous. This money goes right back into the same UAI that spent it in the first place. Okay. Oh, one more joyous announcement. Actually, there's two parts. The first is to thank you all for your extreme cooperation in accommodating our facility here and being out of your rooms, getting your breakfast, being loaded up, and being in reasonably good shape at such an early hour. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. Rick's just about got those things sold, so you better get up there. And the second item, which is even more significant, is that Chris Wood informs me that all keys have been turned in and accounted for. Wait, and have been turned into the. You have your key or your card?
All but one.
You guys have found me out. I've been lying the whole time. No, I don't know. Chris, we have an anomaly. There's a disturbance in the force. But let me tell you what the school said anyway. The school said, thank you. You guys did this faster than anybody ever did it and got it turned in record time. So they're used to people not really cooperating, and well, this is who we are and what we do. All right. Well, and Jeff, I thank you for that. Sometimes I am a leader, but I am not the leader. I am reflecting the combined will of everybody here to do it the way it needs to be done. So thank you. All right, we'll have a little more time for fun and celebration at the end of the program, but it's time to settle in, and we have a couple of important talks and some videos, and I will give to Gaetan for the first announcement.
Good morning. So this is Sunday. Usually Sunday is the day that's reserved for our Lord and for our Father. So during that day, try to be centered on what lives within you and share that with that part of God. So I thought, because it was his last day, and I wanted to give a little piece of my own country and my own province, which is French. We have a song that was written many, many years ago by Raymond Lévesque, who's a singer, but he's deaf today. I think he's even dead today. But the guy is deaf, and he wrote this song many years ago, and it became an instant success. So the song will be sung by him. It will be sung by him in French. We have a recording of it. So we'd like for you to sing it at the same time in English. These are the words. Normand yesterday or the day before, with someone else, with the help of someone else, they made the translation of the song, which is in English. But you will hear the song singing in French. You will be singing it in French when you hear the recording. And remember, that guy was deaf in the late part of his life, and he was trying to sing that song again, and I heard it when he was in that phase of his life, and I think he was really suffering from not being able to hear other people sing it. It's a song about love, about what we are, in fact, about what God is. He's not only love, it's more than that, but what he expresses in us. So let's have this song. My when men will live from love. There will be no more misery. Maybe one day they shall dream. I was your mon frère. Nous qui avons in the bad days, dans la nature, dans les guerres, chercher la paix, cette fleur, qui nous alors mon frère, dans la recherche la gloire, pour qu'il ait la meilleure time. It will always be some loser. De la sagesse. Wisdom in this world is the price to pay. When men will live from love, there will be no more misery. And confusion day. But we will see that my brother. Wow.
Lights.
And we're gonna play back that video. I had some people wanting it to hear it again, which is called the one that we played on Thursday morning, Friday morning,
Gratitude.
Nature Calls. So maybe if you want to sing along with the person, go ahead. It's a beautiful song, but every time I hear it, I'm for 3-4 days, it turns back.
Thank you, Gaetan. And thank you to the study group Tabernacle Choir.
I have felt the wind blow, whispering your name. I have seen your tears fall when I watch the rain. And how could I say there is no God when all around creation calls a singing bird, a mighty tree, the vast expanse of open sea. Gazing at a bird in flight, soaring through the air, lying down beneath the stars. I feel your presence there. I love to stand at ocean shore and feel the thundering breakers roar, to walk through golden fields of grain, neath endless blue horizons gray. to a river run, watering the earth. Fragrance of a rose in bloom, a newborn's cry at birth. How could I say there is no God when all around creation calls? A singing bird, a mighty tree, the vast expanse of open sea. To stand at ocean shore and feel the thundering breakers roar, to walk through golden fields of grain, deep endless blue, horizons I believe, I believe, I believe, just like a child. I believe.
What's the name of that? What is that creation called, or
You can go on YouTube,
what is the title?
Nature Calls,
Nature Creation.
Creation Calls.
Nature calls is a different thing.
Creation Calls. Sorry.
And while we are there, Gaetan, if you could quickly say again where all these videos and presentations will end up.
I'll put them on the website, on the link, and then after we have the UAI website, the new website running, there's gonna be a place where all the videos that were made here will find their place. But as for those videos, we'll provide link to them on the internet because we're not the owner of those videos. But we'll provide the link for it. Either they'll be on Vimeo or they'll be on YouTube. But there's gonna be a link to them from our website.
And in the last analysis, we all live and thrive because God said, let it be so. We will have a PowerPoint on the Indonesian study group that Betty has kindly put together for us. If we have any questions, we'll ask, but I think it will speak for itself. Thank you. If you have not met Betty, make sure to shake her hand before you leave. Thank you for traveling so far.
Es-tu capable de cliquer? You want to click it because it's a PowerPoint? Bennett, you have the,
Oh, I haven't used it.
that's good.
Follow the arrows.
Maybe afterwards you can ask question of Betty about this. I think it's self-explanatory what is written there.
It's in airplane mode.
I believe that is Sydney. Sydney College for Women, where our conference was held. We don't have music.
This is where's Betty there, on the left,
Yes.
holding the flag
Moving the books.
Yep.
and the book.
We found you. Thank you, Betty. We'll move into the program, but I had one question, where I'm looking, there, behind. Marcia, what was the term you called the thought adjuster? Did you say fragment divinity? How did you say that?
In English or Portuguese?
Portuguese.
Fragmento divino.
Fragmento divino. I like the way that rolls.
Yeah, me too. It's my favorite.
But the problem with that is it's not for dinner, it's for our sustenance. Richard, did he not get back yet? Well,
It's a soft focus on his face. I'm gonna zoom in.
okay, we need to move, so
Zoom on him.
Yeah.
we will delay no further. I have known Mr. Georges Dupont, Michelson Dupont, excuse me, since the first conference I went to in 1995. And he is a long member as a trustee of Urantia Foundation.
No, we won't be using.
He is in charge, along with his wife, of the Urantia Book Internet School. And without further ado, Mr. Dupont.
You don't have to do anything emotional. Say hello.
Hello.
We hear him all right?
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is the last day. You know, when I was hearing this French song, I have a dream. You know that famous sentence. I have a dream. The dream when all men on this planet will live in love and harmony. And study group may be instrumental in this coming reality. So, before I start, it's not necessary that you take notes. We provide 4 copies of my presentation. The title of my presentation is Urantia Book In-Depth Study Groups. In-Depth Study Groups. Strategy and Practice. On behalf of my fellow Urantian Foundation trustees and associates, I would like to extend my gratitude from the bottom of my heart to the organizers who took the initiative and prepared this Urantia Book Symposium, Urantia Book Study Group Symposium, offering the opportunity for many experienced and talented orators to present various aspects of their experience with study groups. The importance of study group has been highlighted during this seminar by various speakers, which I thank, and therefore I shall not insist on. A Melchizedek of Nebanon exhorts us to engage in the study of the Urantia book in those words, and I quote, "It is not enough that the ascending mortal should know something of the relationship of deity to the genesis and manifestation of cosmic reality. He should also comprehend something of the relationship existing between himself and the numerous levels of existential and experiential realities, of potential and actual reality. Man's terrestrial orientation, his cosmic insight, and his spiritual directionization are all enhanced by by a better comprehension of universe realities and their techniques of inter-association, integration, and unification. And it's on paper 106 in the introduction. So the purpose of this presentation is to share with this audience several years of experience with conducting in-depth study of the teaching of the revelation based on the Revelator's pedagogy. I shall therefore first analyze the purpose and key points of the Revelator's mandate and pedagogy. Second, I will suggest some efficient and attractive method of in-depth study in order to develop creative interactions between teachers and participants to expand cosmic consciousness and enhance spiritual perception. 3, I shall give some recommendations and illustrate the method with a few examples to make study groups interactive and attractive. Much from the Revelator's expertise can be learned and applied in study groups and seminars. And it is understood that study group participants have read the book at least once before attending study groups. The Revelator's mandate. The Revelator's mandate is clearly expressed in the second paragraph of the foreword. Exactly. Expand consciousness and enhance spiritual perception. A Melchizedek of Nebadan presents this mechanism as a two-step process. And it's called in the book a revelational evolutionary process. Last paper, 196. And I quote, "Revelation teaches modern man that to start such a magnificent and intriguing adventure through space by means of the progression of time, he should begin by the organization of knowledge into ID decision. Next, mandate wisdom to labor unremittingly at its noble task of transforming self-possessed ideas into increasingly practical but nonetheless supernal ideals. Even those concepts which are so reasonable as ideas and so logical as ideals that the adjuster dares so to combine and spiritize them as to render them available for such association in the finite mind as will constitute them the actual human complement, thus made ready for the action of the truth spirit of the sons, the time manifestations of paradise truth, universal truth." So the first part of the mandate takes place in the intellectual sphere of the human mind, what we may call the quality of mind education, in contrast with the second part, which is personal, experiential, and subject only to human free will. Expanding cosmic consciousness. What does that mean? Let's first clarify what consciousness means. We find a definition of self-consciousness in the paper 16, section 8, paragraph 6, as follows. And listen, it's quite complicated. Self-consciousness consists in intellectual awareness of personality actuality. It includes the ability to recognize the reality of other personalities. It indicates capacity for individualized experience in and with cosmic reality, equivalating to the attainment of identity status in the personality relationship of the universe. Self-consciousness connotes recognition of the actuality of mind ministration and the realization of relative independence of creative and determinative free will. Expanding our cosmic consciousness increases indeed our capacity to experience the reality of the universe and our relationship with the divine personalities, as it is stated in the first paragraph of the foreword. Consciousness is the arena of choice, the picture of our personal reality created in the mind, and more consciousness is enlightened by truth, and more the choice is meaningful. Does that make sense? Then, what cosmic consciousness is? A brilliant evening star states, and I quote, "A real burst of cosmic consciousness takes place on Mansonia number 5. You are becoming universe-minded. This is indeed a time of expanding horizons. It is beginning to dawn upon the enlarging minds of the ascending mortal that some stupendous and magnificent, some supernal and divine destiny awaits all who complete the progressive paradise ascension, which has been so laboriously but so joyfully and auspiciously begun. At about this point, the average mortal ascender begins to manifest bona fide experiential enthusiasm for the Havana ascent. Study is becoming voluntary, unselfish service natural, and worship spontaneous. A real Morontia character is budding. A real Morontia creator is evolving. Frankly, this is precisely what the Urantia book is about. Expanding cosmic consciousness, enlarging mind frame, presenting divine and eternal destiny, serving unselfishly, studying voluntarily. But this is not taking place on Mansonia number 5. It's taking place here on Urantia. We might stop and ponder why. Can we speculate that at the end of the present dispensation, the spiritual level of Urantia will be elevated to the Mansonia number 5 status? Ponder. Enhanced spiritual perception. It is a spiritual alchemy, which ultimately leads to spiritual enhancement. This is a personal and spiritual accomplishment under the loving leadership of the Spirit. This is the domain of the religious personal experience. And I quote, "Those ideas and ideals are combined and spiritualized by the thought adjuster as to render them available for the action in the mind of the transforming effect of the Spirit of truth, the universal truth." And second quote, "Jesus designated the mind thus aroused and quickened as the gateway to the soul, where there resides that spiritual nature of man which must recognize truth and respond to the spiritual appeal of the gospel in order to afford the permanent results of true character transformation." In addition, our dear divine counselor acknowledged the following, and you all know this quote, that there dwells within the human mind a fragment of God, and that there sojourns with the human soul the Spirit of truth. And we further know that these spirit forces conspire to enable material man to grasp the reality of spiritual values and to comprehend the philosophy of universe meaning. But even more certainly, we know that these spirits of the divine presence are able to assist man in the spiritual appropriation of all truths contributory to the enhancement of the ever-progressing reality of personal religious experience, God consciousness. A suggested plan of study. The order in which the papers were arranged and presented by the revelators is purposeful. As to where to start the study, we do find suggestions. And what I find personally remarkable and touching is their respectful way to suggest without forcing our free will, always challenging our reflection and appealing for a better quality of thinking. Let's look at the following statement, starting with the foreword. In the foreword, the divine counselor makes the basic observations. There exists great confusion respecting the meaning of those terms as God, divinity, and deity. Human beings are still more confused and uncertain about the relationships of the divine personality designated by his numerous appellations. Because of this conceptual poverty associated with so much ideational confusion, I have been directed to formulate this introductory statement in explanation of the meanings which should be attached to certain words, symbols, as they may be hereinafter used in those papers. Indeed, and we all experience that, the major obstacle of frequent source of abandoning the reading of the Urantia book is the language and the ideational confusion of readers. Therefore, starting with a careful study of the foreword, with an effective support of an experienced teacher, will greatly speed up clarification and expand comprehension of subsequent papers. In the foreword, the divine counselor engaged in 1. Clarification of the paper's terminology, 2. Expansion of the meaning of existing English words, 3. Introduction of new terms when the English terminology doesn't provide for, 4. Development of concept and explanation of relationship. That's what the foreword is about. Continuing with the subsequent papers. We all like to listen to a symphony from the beginning, not from the middle. And the Urantia book is a symphony. A divine counselor writes, for example, the human mind would ordinarily crave to approach the cosmic philosophy portrayed in this revelation by proceeding from the simple and the finite to the complex and the infinite, from human origin to divine destiny. But that path does not lead to spiritual wisdom. And I quote, therefore, because of these and for still other reasons, we may wonder which one, do we employ the technique of approaching man and his planetary problems by embarkation on the time-space journey from the infinite, eternal, and divine paradise source and center of all personality, reality, and all cosmic existence, from top to bottom. Indeed, from origin to destiny. This is how the author sorted, organized, and presented the revelation. From paper 1 to 32, God and the central and super universe. From paper 33 to 56, the local universe. And finally, from paper 57 to 118, the history of Urantia, with the last 4 papers, 115 to 118, introducing the future and our destiny. Study group concept. Following is an extract of the publication mandate called the timing of the Urantia book. It is like a roadmap with specific recommendations. And one is, and I quote, "The book is being given to those who are ready for it long before the day of its worldwide mission. Thousands of study groups must be brought into existence, and the book must be translated into many tongues." Extract from the publication mandate. And I have that dream, and I know you share that dream. Why study groups? Although religion is a personal experience, the natural outcome is social and expressed in communities. Solitary reading of the Urantia book is certainly necessary as an introduction to the teaching of the book, but remains insufficient. Quickly comes the desire to meet with other readers, to share the pearl of great price. And the vast majority of readers feel the need to expand their understanding and share their spiritual lives within a friendly and private atmosphere of study. Urantia book study groups are essential for at least the following reasons. 1. Study groups are the place where religionists can share in all discretion and privately their faith with others and build the social brotherhood of believers by intimate association. The progress of one benefit to all the group, and the progress of the group benefit to each individual. 2. Study groups offer a friendly and secure environment to welcome new readers and study the content with other participants. Number 3, study groups are a place where team spirit is fostered and creative teamwork is exercised. Number 4, study groups develop a dynamic for growth, a cross-fertilizing of ideas and ideals favorable for the training of teachers and leaders. 5. Study groups are essential for a secure dissemination of the revelation worldwide, providing they are attractive. And 6. Study groups represent the next progressive stage in the evolution of religious socialization, moving beyond sectarian institutionalization led by trained clergy who administer religious doctrine to a socialization process more consistent with the revealed truth in the Urantia book, that each personality is a child of God with the gifted and indwelt ability to directly experience and perceive religious truth and spiritual values. Study group leaders and teachers. Teachers and leaders are long-time experienced individuals with the teachings and doctrines of the Urantia book who desire to serve the readership by virtue of their loving attractiveness and wisdom. In no way she or he is a guru or a master with self-appointed authority. The role of teacher and leader is not special. It is natural outcome of finding God in their personal experience. And I quote, Religious desire is the hunger quest for divine reality. Religious experience is the realization of the consciousness of having found God. And when a human being does find God, there is experienced within the soul of that being such an indescribable restlessness of triumph in discovery that he is impelled to seek loving service contact with his less illuminated fellows. Not to disclose that he has found God, but rather to allow the overflow of the welling up of eternal goodness within his soul to refresh and enables his fellow. Real religion leads to increased social service. Study group for whom it is a common error to believe that the Urantia book is accessible only to highly educated people. When the teachings are gently and progressively approached with an effective plan of study, a method of mind expansion with the support of an experienced teacher, it requires only brotherly dedication and loving goodwill. But it is also true that it requires courage, patience, open-mindedness, and effort to undertake such a transforming adventure. And we should accept that not everybody is ready for it. However, it should be the goal and ambition of every study group to offer that opportunity to all. The study group strategy. A methodic approach of the teachings of the Urantia book is essential to the progress of study group participants. The teacher uses a strategy to attract intellectually the participants and create a dynamic of interest in order to change the reader into a student. This is the difference between a reader group and a study group. The study group strategy is grounded on the following principle. One, and I listed those four principles because this is what we use in our study group. So the study group strategy is grounded on the following principle. Questioning. After the reading of paragraphs, the teacher might ask questions if necessary to enter more in the subject and expand the concept by thought-provoking questions and stimulate the discussion. 1. Questioning transforms a passive reader into an active seeker. Seek and you will find. Ask and you will receive is a universal law. The thought adjuster and the spirit of truth have the opportunity to participate. 2. Questioning is non-invasive, non-coercive, non-destructive, and non-interpretive. It is respectful of participants' free will and does not force nor control the mind. 3. Questioning opens new fields of exploration and expands mind consciousness to new perspectives. And 4. Questioning stimulates a friendly dynamic among attendees and encourages sharing brotherhood. Questioning about what? One more. The revelators bring to our attention the following in the words of Melchizedek of Nevada, and I'm quote, "Because your world is generally ignorant of origins, even of physical origin, it has appeared to be wise from time to time to provide instruction in cosmology. While statements with reference to cosmology are never inspired, such revelations are of immense value in that they at least transiently clarify knowledge by 1. The reduction of confusion by the authoritative elimination of error. 2. The coordination of known or about to be known facts and observation. 3. The restoration of important bits of lost knowledge concerning epochal transactions in the distant past. 4. The supplying of information which will fill in vital missing gaps in otherwise earned knowledge. And 5, very important, presenting cosmic data in such a manner as to illuminate the spiritual teachings contained in the accompanying revelation. Again, expanding cosmic consciousness is the first part of the revelator's statement. These five statements are the basic element used by revelators and constitute for us a taxonomy, a grid of questions, a framework for discussion to use during study group. 2. Sharing. I quote, "Spiritual growth is mutually stimulated by intimate association with other religions. Love supplies the soil for religious growth." So, 1. Sharing, answers, and exchanging ideas provide for mutual opportunities to listen to other points of view, promotes a better appreciation of each other, and inspires goodwill and loving relationships. 2. Sharing personal interpretation, enhanced comprehension of the material. 3. Sharing spiritual matters and experiences with others, combined with the support of the thought adjuster and the spirit of truth, fosters a vibrant, powerful, stimulating, and dynamic process of ideals and soul growth. 4. Sharing supports and enhances the interest and attention of the attendees for hours. In addition, the spiritual presence of our unseen friend, thought adjuster, and the spirit of truth contributes to making the spiritual transformation an experiential reality and participant are not tired at the end of the day. And I know what I'm speaking of. I experience it. From concept to experience. Expansion of concept is an intellectual process, the first part of the revelator's mandate. Very often, high intellectual concepts lose their significance because the participants do not connect with their day-to-day life. During the discussion, the teacher will make all effort to associate the intellectual concept with the real life of the participant by bringing the teaching to the experiential level. In order to illustrate this approach, let's take the following example. The concept of mind spiritualization is somewhat vague in the mind of participants. First, using thought-provoking questions, the teacher brings the participant to the realization that it is a day-to-day exercise of choice between the egoism of the animal nature and the altruism of the spiritual nature. The resolution of tensions between different levels of values and the formation of human character. Second, the teacher will expand the concept experience from the individual to the universe level by discussing the consequence of the participant's choice for God the Father, for the thought adjuster, for Michael of Nebadan, and God the Supreme and their sovereignty. The teacher will finally give a name to this process. It's supremacy. So you go from the concept to the realization of what does that mean in the life of the participant. And when it's done, when he understands what it means in his own life, you expand that to his to the consequence of this transformation for God, for his thought adjuster, for God the Supreme, and also for Michael of Nebadan. So you expand his understanding, and you also make him aware of his of the consequence. Cross-referencing. To enlighten or illustrate the content of a paragraph, it might be necessary to cross-reference with other paragraphs referring to the subject and addressed in the Urantia book, resulting in a cross-fertilizing process and clarification. For instance, the following paragraph explains very clearly the survival technique which is so important for human beings, but the complexity of the terminology makes the paragraph somewhat difficult to understand for many participants. And I quote, "In the inner experience of mind, mind is joined to matter. Such material-linked minds cannot survive mortal death. The technique of survival is embraced in those adjustments of the human will and those transformations in the mortal mind whereby such a God-conscious intellect gradually becomes spirit-taught and eventually spirit-led. This evolution of the human mind from matter association to spirit union result in the transmutation of the potentially spirit phases of the mortal man into the morancia reality of the immortal soul. Mortal mind, subservient to matter, is destined to become increasingly material and consequently to suffer eventual personality extension. Mind yield to spirit is destined to become increasingly spiritual and ultimately to achieve oneness with the surviving and guiding divine spirit, and in this way to attain survival and eternity of personality existence." Well, the teacher has selected in advance the key element and the cross-referred paragraph. After having read the above paragraph, the teacher may undertake to bring more illumination or insight to the discussion by cross-referencing. For instance, we read, "Those adjustments of the human will." What does that mean? Refers to the innate capacity of choice of the personality's free will between the relative right and wrong. By reading paper 16, section 6, paragraph 4, the participant find additional explanation of the mechanism of the cosmic mind in personality. Going further on paper 16, section 8 and paragraph 8, he finds the different situations in which the personality's free will is involved. There are 7. Now, those transformations in the mortal mind, again, what does that mean? Refers to the acceptance of the mortal mind to become sensible to cooperate wholeheartedly with the Spirit through repetitive choice of right versus wrong, the altruistic urge versus the egoist inclination. By reading paper 110, section 3, the solitary messenger explained how to improve the cooperation with the thought adjuster. And in paper 111, section 1, he explained the mind mechanism. So using those helps us. And the last one, the best one, the transmutation of the potentially spirit phases of the modern mind into the Morontia realities of the immortal soul. What does that mean? Refers to the mechanism used by the thought adjuster to create and transfer the counterpart of the spiritual content of human thought and action, and transfer in due time toward the Morontia soul by a spiritual counterpart created by the thought adjuster, leading to soul growth as it is so exquisitely explained in paper 108, section 6, paragraph 5. I hope I have made myself understood. Practicing. Preparing the study group session. The universal, and I quote, the universal Father never imposes any form of arbitrary recognition, formal worship, or slavish service upon the intelligent will creator of the universe. Wait a minute. No, sorry. Yeah. I went one page further, so I'm going back. Do we fully realize the chance to be exposed to the revelation? Yes, it is a thick text book with no images, but it contains the wisdom of the world. And the knowledge of Mansonia number 5. Therefore, the in-depth study of the revelation is something we should take seriously and wholeheartedly. Like with any other learning and training, a self-discipline is required from the teacher to help the participant organize. And I quote, knowledge into ID decisions, next mandate wisdom to labor unremittingly at its noble task to transforming self-processed ideas into increasingly practical but nonetheless supernal ideas. Long before the date of the study group session, the teacher has some homework to do. First, he prepares several thought-provoking and stimulating questions based on the grid of the 5 basic clarification and expansion of knowledge we see before. 2, he prepares a list of words to be explained during the session, if necessary. 3, he selects cross-reference paragraphs related to the material to study. 4, he makes a list of intellectual concepts to be discussed on the experiential level, from concept to experience. And 5, and important, he recommends the participant to read the text in advance and prepare questions if necessary. And it's a good idea to bring a dictionary. Unfolding of the study group session. A well-organized and administered study group lies on discipline, rules of fair conduct accepted by all members. You must have them in writing at your hand during the study group session. You may read them as a friendly reminder when necessary. The principle of the in-depth study is the systematic in-turn reading of paragraphs immediately followed by a period of question and sharing where every every attendee has the opportunity to participate. It is important that every participant has a word to say, because this is how you bring brotherhood. It is how you bring interest. And finally, interest turns into passion. The principle of the in-depth study, the teacher leads the discussion using the grid of 5 clarifying topics, the advanced prepared question, the cross-fertilizing strategy, and clarification of terminology when necessary. Interventions are not limited in time, but the teacher will ensure that they do not drift. He or she shall make sure that each participant has the opportunity to express themselves without monopolizing the floor. That's very difficult for some. So the study group starts with 2 or 3 minutes of meditative silence. Optionally, one of the attendees may address few words of gratitude and appreciation in behalf of the group to the spirit and to our unseen friends. And it's also a good idea to focus on asking help for the study that they are willing to do. Then a moderator is designated. The role of the moderator is to give the floor in an orderly manner to the individuals during the discussion and sharing. He ensures that each attendee has the opportunity to speak. It's the 3rd time I tell you this. 3, the teacher invites a participant to read the first paragraph, pause and comment about what she just read, the one who is reading the paragraph. Next, the teacher or the moderator invites other participants to add their comment and ideas. It is essential that all attendees participate to the discussion 4 times. Yes, it is. According to the subject, the teacher makes sure that all participants have a clear understanding of the terminology. Again, it is useful to clarify the meaning of words. The teacher stimulates the conversation with the question he prepared in advance and cross-reference paragraphs. And I will give you a few examples. Reduction of confusion by authoritative elimination of error. Those are the 5 elements that are in the grid. And I quote, "Oh my goodness, by the sons of God were the universe made." The Bible quote shows how much minutes or seconds do I have.
We are past, but please finish
Oh
your
my
thoughts.
goodness.
Please finish your thoughts.
Okay.
You will understand. Do not be alarmed. All is well.
So I would just like to give only one example. The barbarous idea of appeasing an angry God or propitiating an offended Lord or of winning the favor of deity through sacrifices and penance and even by the shedding of blood represent a religion wholly puerile and primitive, a philosophy unworthy of an enlightened age of science and truth. That is on paper 4. And this is a wise but direct denunciation of erroneous religious belief. Specifically, the Christian doctrines of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross for the remission of our sin can prepare the mind for the reception of new truth. So that's the process, and you may use it. So shortly, the conclusion. We reach the end of this presentation. I hope I have been clear enough, as English is not my mother language. Nevertheless, my purpose was to attract your attention about some techniques as a result of my experience in leading study groups and seminars. In order to fulfill their mandate, the author declared having collected, sorted, adapted and coordinated more than 1,000 human concepts as a base of the papers preparing for the presentation of new concepts and truths, thus making the teaching accessible to everyone who would wholeheartedly study the Urantia book. The Revelatory Commission did their best. And it becomes our responsibility to foster and promote a worldwide proliferation of efficient and attractive study groups wherever and whenever we can, but the question is, how do we do it? And the last paragraph, well, looking at a human cell, they multiply by division. A study group is like a cell, and when the number of participants grows over, let's say, 15 people, it is the time for division. By the time the study group reaches the critical mass, teachers or animators are trained and able to create a new study group. Indeed, study groups are like sacks of grain. Until the grains are not disseminated, the harvest is impossible. Finally, study groups are the crucibles for the construction of communities of believers, from which the gospel of Jesus, the fatherhood of God, and the brotherhood of man will spread into the world. Thank you for listening with patience.
I'd take a bio break.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, by a show of let us thank George again for a lovely presentation. And I still believe that he may say that French is his second language, but I believe everything sounds more beautiful with a French accent. Okay, by a show of hands, I would like to see, show off. By a show of hands, I would like to see everybody who thinks we are way out of time and off the schedule. By a show of hands, I would like to say who thinks we are just in time.
Oh, yeah.
And since I have the microphone, my vote counts. Okay, so here's the thing. Everybody did their best and got out of the rooms and got down here. We even started 5 minutes earlier than we were planning from last night. And because of the nature of the schedule, we are going to take a 10-minute back at 10:37 in your seats for the restroom. And then Jeff Waddles will speak and we'll move into the closing ceremonies. But we all need a break, so let's do it.
I felt that.
Break.
Ricardito canalizador.
What is she talking about?
Oh, what I'm talking. Canalizator of storm, thunder, and you know. Hey, no, that never saw me.
It's her fantasy.
Mas não fazer nada. It's for your mother. I remember. Your gift for my mind.
Yes, genetic.
Genética. Good. Can you please only send me that picture? I know you're not supposed because it's too dark.
Which picture?
Oh, at the bar.
Oh, okay, sure. I posted it, but what I was going to show you was, yeah, so this is Facebook. So last night I posted pictures of the musicians, there's pictures of those guys, and a series of pictures of Bob. But this is 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Oh, you already saw it?
I saw, but here we don't. It's not. You're not post that picture. I want that. Not. I know you will not post because it's dark, and this you post.
Yeah, that was the one that I did. That one came out on as the lead picture.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
This is much beautiful, but I want that one.
Sure.
So exactly.
I'll do that.
Okay?
Then I got that. So this was the group I did that. Mostly, I didn't get yours in there. Because they were so okay, I'll send
But
it.
you sent it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can do all this back there at the foundation.
Ah, please, of course, yes. We have to find the. We have a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
You
we'll
will
have
be
plenty
there.
of time. All week.
Oh, beautiful.
So we have several days.
Beautiful. Yeah, we have a
I
lot
got the
of
presentation for you.
whatever you have to do.
Well,
No, you're right. Well, I just told Mike, because he said I was free to go, but I told him that I would be around a few minutes. And then, no, I'm going to stick around just to make sure that I'll be the safety valve. I don't want to stay for a long time, but I have to drive too. But if there's a smile,
I like you're having a good time even if you're not.
I had always planned for that. Depending on the amount of stuff they have and pending reorganization, I can probably take 2. 3 might be less. Well, if you've got, if you've got the bus leaving at a certain time, anybody's itchy about going to bed sooner than I can. Because I'm also not really zealous. I'm going to go to the cafeteria and eat a few bites because I will need to, but I'm not overly zealous about whatever.
I think you're on the roughly 3 o'clock.
So you got 2 rooms or you got 3?
Well,
We're doing first.
well, no, the band is going.
Okay.
Help us to make it better.
No. What, sure.
Okay, so we get you a ride and stuff.
Oh, that chapter. So we will adjourn after this. And go straight to chapel and don't stop. No, and right, and hopefully it won't.
We have one that they did Adam.
You feel very great. You feel very great.
Félicitations, bravo. Excellent, excellent. Oui, excellent. Très apprécié. J'espère que nous, on va utiliser l'article, on va le publier. Les articles méritent d'être publiés. Les autres studios puissent bénéficier de cette information.
On l'utilise chaque personne explique
Je suis pas content, il aurait dépassé un petit peu. Les gens ont des avis.
The best way for me to give you my video is to put the camera in VCR mode, transfer in real time to your computer.
Yeah.
It take about 20-25 minutes total.
Or you could download that at home on your own computer, and I will give you a link to a Dropbox folder where you can download it in it, and then I'll have access to it.
I'll put it over on my computer first.
I'll tell you how to do it, because I won't have time to do that here.
Okay, very good.
But once we leave, we leave for the chapel, for the ceremony. And then I pack my stuff, and other people are going, and I have to go. I have to be home tomorrow at a certain hour.
Okay, good enough.
But I'll tell you how to do it. Once you have it at home, you'll put it in a folder.
Now, one thing you got to keep in mind, Moses does not want to be in any pictures when it's crashed.
I'll look at it.
So you'll see a couple of them where he's in just a snippet.
I can put a blur on it.
Good. An adequate.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll take that in mind.
At least that's for his security.
Okay, good.
Okay, hey, Bill, anybody can, we round it up?